Welcome, everyone, to the Dirty Possum Podcast. All right, getting some participation here. Let's go around the room once again and introduce everybody. My name's Wes. I am a host here in Lubbock, Texas. We have the man the show is named after, Dirty Possum, Dave Lonngren, and ex-comedian.
I would say never, but maybe never.
Maybe never. If the right mic showed up, you might jump up there and ruin it for everybody.
Yeah. If the wrong comic gets up, I'm taking over the stage.
That's what you're going to do. He's the comedy police is what he is. He's the po-po. Caleb Davis, the head of Laugh Hub City, who by default schedules everybody. Is that appropriate?
Yes, sure.
Right?
Sometimes.
Do you also deal with making sure people get paid and stuff? Do you have to deal with club owners and be an asshole and stuff like that? I mean, have you run into those situations?
Sort of, yeah. Occasionally, I've had to, but it's usually myself that's spending my own money that I got to get paid back for.
Wow. Okay. So you put money in the production. So you're
right.
making sure that you're getting paid back. That's pretty good. And of course, the last winner of it would have been the May winner of the Lubbock Laugh Off, Kendall Smith-Rodriquez. How you doing?
I'm good. How
Everything
are you?
good? Yeah, you're living the high
so
life.
good.
You've taken and cashed all those big checks from this last event, right?
Yes. What do we have? Like $14 left on the beer tab. So I took that to.
Well, this is the first time we had anything left. There you go. Hey, you did rock it. There is no doubt that you had a really, really good night. Everybody has good nights, bad nights. But you also went out on the road. How did that go? How did the Kendall Smith-Rodriquez show work in other towns? Be honest.
Well,
it did work well.
It did. It worked well. It was fun. It was all fresh.
I have a feeling you're holding something back here. What are you holding back?
Sometimes nothing. It went well. I went up there and they laughed at where they were supposed to laugh.
Right.
And I ended up getting a little comfortable, and so I went off script sometimes. They laughed where they were supposed to laugh, and they laughed in other places. And so it was a good.
What did you learn in terms of lessons by playing other towns other than Lubbock?
You know what? That's how my comedy went. What I enjoyed most about going out of town is you see the different local scenes in Dallas and Houston and Fort Worth, and there are funny people out there.
Yeah.
And there are not funny people out there.
Yeah, fuck you, Dallas, Houston, and Fort Worth.
So you were generally well received by these audiences?
For the most part. The Improv Houston bar show, I'd give that one a C+.
All right, tell us what happened. What made it a little bit of a bummer? Just no spark, or did something happen?
They laughed. They're 3-minute shows, and they call your name out of a bucket, and I went up there and told 4 jokes, and they laughed at 2. Or they laughed at 3. So it's a 75.
That's
it
not
wasn't
bad.
terrible, but it was. There wasn't it.
It sounds to me like you did well, but it wasn't exactly what you expected.
Right. I was ready to go to the Boondocks and see if I could do better.
It's like you played the lottery and won one of the $3 prizes instead of the big money.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Let's get to that. That's a great segue right here, Dave. Nightmare gig, other than the one we discussed on the other podcast.
Nightmare gig?
Yeah. Things really went sideways. Things went bad for you in terms of your set. I've seen you. You've had a few.
I know. You might have to prompt.
Going through the fucking catalog right now.
Yeah.
How about the one where you went on stage and screamed "Fuck you, God" for about 3 minutes solid?
Yeah, that was a meltdown of many of mine. But I was fucking You know what? At that point, I do comedy for my fucking self.
Yeah.
And that's it. If you motherfuckers laugh, great. If you motherfuckers don't, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
It's therapy.
Right.
At that moment of my fucking life,
You were getting what you wanted out
I
of it.
needed to tell God, fuck you. 'Cause it was probably, that was in the last 12 months, wasn't it?
I think it was probably your second to the last gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was working through.
So he got you back.
Yeah. Yeah, fucking Jesus fucked up my comedy. But I was working. You've been around my
Jesus
life.
fucked up my comedy. Yeah.
I've been through some shit this year.
Well, I completely understand.
And I think I was pissed. I was pissed at life. I fell in love with a woman that I fucking thought it was going to be my wife, and that did not work out.
I understand this, but the guy over here who puts tires on doesn't get to poke holes in them because he had a bad fucking day.
Well, fuck him for not living life. Get a fucking job where you can poke, then go be a hole poker in the fucking tire, and then have your brother run the tire shop. Fuck.
All right, Caleb, nightmare gig for you.
Real quick, weren't you the first comedian that night? Like, you were first, and you walk up, fuck you, God! All of us are like, God, whoa, shit, we're in trouble.
We gotta dig our way out of that.
I knew I never win the fucking thing, so I knew I'm gonna just ruin it for everybody.
Can you beat that one, or just being part of that one?
Well, I mean, I think we ended up having fun. It was just like, Dave was just like, well, okay, geez Louise.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
My life's great.
Everybody's just relieved to hear anything other than that at that point.
I was making you guys feel grateful about your own fucking lives. Thank me for it.
I'd say Nightmare Gig was probably one of my first ones. And I had just gotten back to Lubbock, and I see this guy, and he knew I was doing some comedy stuff out in California and stuff, and he talks to me, he's like, hey, I got a gig for you. I was like, well, hell yeah, this is awesome. I'm about to get booked like the first week that I'm...
real booking.
Yeah, and so it's at 4 Barcade, and it's like a cigar release party.
Yeah.
Of course, a dumbass who's never done... Well, hell yeah, I'll do the comedy there.
Right.
And I go... And he doesn't give me any details, just be there at 7. And so I get there and I walk in and he's like, hey, it's you and this guy. And it was actually Adam Hernandez. I'd never met him.
Wow.
I'd never met him. And he's like, y'all two, we've got an hour of comedy scheduled. And I was just like, fuck.
That's a lot of time to fill. Yeah, we don't even try to do that with the laugh off. Yeah.
So I'm like, all right. And so I talked to Adam and I'm like, all right, dude, I don't know, like if you can just do like 25
or 55.
20. Yeah. I was like, all right, if we can just do 30 and 30, we'd be straight. Adam goes up there and he does like 7 minutes. And walks
out. Man, left you holding the bag.
And I was like, oh my gosh. So like my strategy was that I put my water on this corner of the stage, the back corner, and then I put my beer on the other back corner of the stage, so I would just walk really slowly.
Oh, really?
To get a drink and back. So it was just a total stall job. I maybe had like 15 minutes, and that's like everything.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
wow.
We got to about the 30-minute mark, and I was like,
that's it.
Does anybody want to come up here and tell some jokes that your granddad or your uncle sent you in an email? I don't know what to do.
Wow, that's crazy. What about you, Kendall?
First time?
No, nightmare gig. It can't all be coming up roses for you.
No, that's right. Nightmare gig equals...
one of your worst gigs ever.
Yes. I didn't like the last laugh off gig.
Yeah?
I guess.
Why's that?
I just didn't... It didn't go well.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What, when your headlining part or what?
I haven't had anything like crazy, like, not yet. Yeah, the headlining one. I just didn't.
This last one that you won,
or the previous
one?
headline.
No, the one before that.
Oh, the one where
didn't go too well.
Oh, okay. Well, you were headlining. That's right. And that's the one that Austin won.
Yeah,
I thought you did fine. Isn't that weird that there's a different perception there? Maybe you just weren't feeling it.
Yeah, it was 30% laughs.
Yeah, that's what you felt like you got out of that, and that was it.
Yeah, like out of the amount of people laughing, is like 30%.
Do you see these guys next to you wishing that was their worst gig? You know.
Well, let's talk about that. Why do you think it? What was the problem? Where do you think the problem was with that it made it your nightmare gig?
It probably had a lot to do with, well, not being prepared for one, not having a joke to explain away why I have.
Oh, I remember. And then when you tried to put up the mic, the fucking mic stand broke and everything.
Yeah.
That was.
Go.
Yeah, I do remember there was a couple moments there that were rough, but that was it. Just a couple. Yeah.
But not being prepared. I mean,
I'm really not I'm trying to think, y'all.
Yeah.
I know something shitty has happened at some
I just
point.
remember.
Well, how about?
I
what
do
about
remember
this?
seeing Kendall after that, and he was just kind of dejected, and he was just like,
What's
Yeah.
you know, I guess you can't win them all or whatever. I don't know, but it was like,
okay.
dude,
I'm gonna
you know, fuck 'em.
interject.
Yeah.
Me and Kendall. I mean, back in the day.
What the fuck is going on with your Burt Reynolds shirt thing going on there?
Fucking
What the
hot.
fuck is that?
It's 89
Four
fucking
buttons deep.
You trying to? Is the Burt Reynolds magnet still up
He
there?
is right here.
Yeah, Dave's going for that.
Oh,
no.
Way to go.
No, no.
Okay, no. Let's.
The shirt's off.
Okay. Back in the day when Corey Wood left town and
Yeah.
me, Caleb, and Durbin took over Laugh Hub.
Yeah.
You know, me and Kendall did not fucking get along.
Yeah.
And we put Kendall on a show one time, and then we didn't hear nothing from him. I don't know. I might be getting this fucked up.
Yeah.
And then he showed up to the show. I was like, dude, you're not on the show. And I mean, because you didn't, you know, you remember that? And
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
fucking super pissed, man.
I
And
was.
like, fuck you, you fucking mother. Yeah, I didn't say that, but I was thinking that.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, we got a show, you know, and he was like, you know, okay, Kendall, 2 weeks out, you're on the show. Okay, and then you went to see Kendall. For 2 weeks. I'm like, dude, part of the thing is you guys stay fresh and you just can't show up for fucking shows. And that was kind of the way Corey ran it. And I was
Yeah.
trying to continue in his path.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck Kendall. He's not on the show. And man, you showed up with your girly and ready to do comedy. And I was like, no, you're not on the show. I was like, dude. I was like, dude. And man, we did not like each other. And
That's valid. I several times after that, I was like, no, I'm not doing comedy right now. I'm just not
yeah.
fucking with the scene because
Yeah. I think the part
they
of
left
that.
me off a show. But I was just so full of myself.
Yeah, I think the part of that story you got wrong is at that point nobody liked you.
Nobody
just-
likes me
it was
now,
just
so
Kendall.
fuck it. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to be 52 in 2 months. Fuck you all.
52.
I said fuck you to God. I can say fuck you to you.
All right, Kendall, advice you'd give your younger self. I mean, you're not that old to begin with. How old are you right now?
24.
24. He has to
Whoa,
think about
sir.
that. Oh, my God.
I got boots that are older than him.
Right. So, well, what advice would you give your younger self? You've been doing it 4 or 5 years, right? Like these guys? Yeah.
No. I started in 2015.
2015, 3 years then. Yeah.
Yes.
So what are you learning all that time? You've obviously learned something because things are working well for you.
Yeah. I would say don't leave. Don't, fuck chicks. Don't fuck so many chicks, dude. Do something else.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's everybody sitting at this counter was saying,
Good God.
yeah, fuck too many chicks. I'm still making fucking payments on one of the guys.
I'm just kidding. I would say don't worry about it so damn much.
Yeah?
It's the show. Yeah, be there. Be just on stage, and then when you get off stage, whatever, revel in the glory for 15 minutes, and then walk out of there and be in that parking lot.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know,
and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right. What about you,
That's
Caleb?
what I'd say.
Advice for your younger self. I guess your younger comedy self.
Younger comedy self.
Yeah.
Do not, when you're hosting a show, don't tell people, don't come up with really creative ways for them to kill themselves. Don't do that to the audience. Just try to be courteous.
Yeah. Try to be courteous. What about you, Dave?
Fuck, man. I mean, my younger comedy self started in '91 in Rhode Island. When first time I ever got up on stage as a comedian. And I would fucking say, dude, why didn't you fucking continue on that path then?
So you got a little bit of a problem with the fact that you've taken or had these great lapses in what you do.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't, I went live life. I went and did shit. I walked through some darkness.
Yeah.
But I wish I had stayed on that path back then.
Well, it's not too late.
It's not too late.
You're not dead yet. You're close, but
no. But I could have gotten away. Could have gotten through a lot of life lessons early on if I had just had the balls to.
Well,
follow that path.
you think that think that, but we all know comedians who are depressed like a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And no matter how well they do. Hey, Kendall, what's interesting is you got some great family humor, meaning you talk about your family in your act, and then it turns out that a lot of those things are or aren't based in realness. So where's the truth in that? Where's the truth in what's going on with those jokes about your family?
Usually the first half of the joke.
Yeah.
And then the second half is just an over-exaggeration of that.
So you do come from a happy family, mom, dad, everything? Because it's rare for that to be a comedian.
Happy, yes.
Yeah.
Ideal, no.
Yeah.
So like, it was a situation where we could have been sad.
Right.
There were sad times.
Right.
Yeah, it's a semi-broken family, but with an optimistic attitude.
Right. It's pretty interesting. What about you, Caleb? I know you seem hesitant to talk about your mom whenever I ask. Probably because she signs your checks.
Yeah.
But what about you when you do your family stuff?
Well, I've just always thought that, it's what you know. I mean, it's what you're around.
Yeah.
So it's something you know really well.
Right.
So whatever type of maybe twist or turn, I mean, I think a lot of it's exaggeration, but with the premises and things that have gone on, like I don't tend to think that I'm making any of it up, but
right.
I think I find it kind of, at least in my like friend group,
yeah,
like all of us come from like divorced families.
Right.
There's like only one who's the fucking golden boy and his parents are still together, but we're like, hey, they probably should get a divorce. They might be happy now.
Yeah.
But it's like everyone kind of came from, we had like each other on the weekends and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, we're happy now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, that's all you can really ask for.
It was just different growing up.
My mom is crazy. My mom is just absolutely crazy. If I may, I'll interject a story here because we know where Dave's trauma comes from. I called my mom, and she's probably coming up on 80 or something like that. And earlier in her life, she was very atheistic, I guess is the term. But lately, as all old people do, they start getting afraid of Jesus beating them up when they die or whatever. And my mom couldn't handle it because that's what he does.
To pay the piper, motherfucker.
No, Jesus fuck you in the ass.
I'm gonna whip your ass like those bankers in the temple. That's what's gonna happen.
I'm gonna give you the best porn movie ever.
But this actually ended up being a bit of lingo for me and Dave. I call her and ask, and she couldn't handle church, but she wanted to be spiritual. So she started feeding homeless people. And I called her up. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? She said, we're going to go down and feed the homeless people in the park. And I'm like, Mom, this is where Dateline Mystery starts. This, she was good. She fed the homeless. And then one day, one of them stabbed her. Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
And that's what I thought. And so I'm talking to her about this, and she will not relent. And I finally just decided to move the conversation forward because it was one of those conversations where you've got to, I was calling her like for a birthday, and you got to put in a certain amount of time. I'm like, well, what are you cooking for the homeless? And she's like, chili. And I'm like, Mom, don't feed the homeless chili. And she's like, why not? I'm like, they have no place to shit. They're gonna shit up all the bushes around the area, and that's where the term me and Dave started calling them bush shitters and everything. But I just thought that was such an odd choice of something to feed the homeless.
Yeah,
well, Wes liked chili, and
yeah,
his
exactly.
brother liked chili, and
I asked her. She said, "What we feed them? I like cheese, something to block them up, so you're not like tromping through homeless shit all day long." But it just seems weird to me to take a bucket of chili out to a park. So that's my family story. That's what I'm dealing with right here. Kendall, once again, I want to ask you a question here. I want to finish up with Kendall today because we're running out of time here. You have shown your skills as a writer and everything, and I know that this episode has been a bit more about the art of comedy than actual comedy, but have you reached a point where you've written a joke and went, this is not Kendall's joke? This needs to be somebody else's joke. This don't fit my character, don't fit my profile. It's funny, but it ain't going to be funny coming out of my mouth?
Yes.
And do you give those away? What do you do?
Sometimes I'll hear a set and contribute to it. I'm trying to think. I had one the other day that I was like, this is not my joke, but so-and-so can tell this.
But it's a good joke.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
God, I have terrible memory, but yeah, I
You smoked a lot of
happens.
weed before you came here today, didn't you?
Not a lot.
Not-
Just a short little stem.
Not a lot in Kendall
And
terms.
it got me, man. It fucking got me.
Oh, he's got them baked eyes.
Y'all
Oh,
got snacks around this motherfucker?
There's a couple cupcakes left. We'll hook you up. What about you, Caleb? You written something and go, this just doesn't fit my voice.
Sure.
Yeah. And do you pass them along, or what do you do?
I will. A lot of times I'll find myself like listening to somebody do their set, and then it's like, oh, there's so much room. You've like there's this area right here that you could just hammer them right here.
So you're actually writing in addition to what they're doing.
Yeah, I'll find myself doing that. Like, dude, maybe you should just throw this in there and see if it works.
That is awesome.
And then
That's
pretty
awesome.
much the only ones that I've ever given out are always to Steven, because I'm like, that's a fucking Laffy Taffy joke. So. here's a pun joke. I don't know what to do with it. This isn't me.
All right, well,
I know that's you.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Dirty Possum, Dave Lonngren, Caleb Davis, Kendall Smith-Rodriquez. Caleb, real quick, where do we find Laugh Hub City?
You can find us on Facebook, Laugh Hub City. Just type that into the search bar. We've got shows Tuesday at Recovery Room, Wednesday at Lantern Tavern, Thursday at Nick's Overton, Friday World of Beer. That's a once a month show, and then we're also at Bar PM on Sundays.
All right, guys, appreciate you dropping by.